So Venus is about to enter Libra tomorrow. So Venus, what is Venus? Venus is the way we love, the way we compromise, and the way we relate to each other. Without Venus, there won't be no love, there won't be no balance, there won't be no equilibrium. And Libra, we all know who Libras are. Initiative and, of course, communicative when it comes to relating, connections, balance, harmony, and peace, and justice and fairness. Now, when Venus enters Libra, it's home here. So, of course, it loves being here. So this is a position in where Libra is going to either force you to get into a relationship or force you to love something, or force you to basically bring the balance mechanisms into these areas. See, now, Zodiac signs that's going to be basically feeling the effects of this are people with Chiron and Aries and people with Venus and Aries, because this is opposite Libra. So, of course, these individuals are going to feel opposite. They're going to be opposite, but also opposites attract. So if you plant good seeds and basically have the actualization of basically bringing the harmony, the justiceness and the fairness, and acting out in the energies, you will basically be good. Feel me? Just be a peace lover at this moment. Feel me? Be a peacemaker at this moment. And you could be a peacemaker and peace lover at this position in this moment. You can set yourself up of harnessing the energies in the right spectrum, which means you can harness Venus and Libra to work in your favor, to have the right ways to love, and to have the right ways to compromise. So it's up to you though. So don't put yourself in a position of doing things backwardly, because if you're doing things backwardsly, then things is not going to basically go well and go smooth. See, Venus and Libra individuals, you're going to feel the need to basically get into relationships, get into an establishment, of course, going to want to basically connect with someone. So for me, you can't really run away from love too damn long. You also got them good Libras and them bad Libras, for me. But which one is you? The good Libra or the bad Libra? For me, sometimes, remember, Libra and Aries is like the same exact persona. So if you're a Libra sun, 10 times out of 10, your physical representations are sharing the other side of the Aries. And if you're an Aries sun, it's going to get switched. And of course, the Libra is going to be on the other side. Feel me? It's like the 50 and 50, shit like that. So, yeah. Now, wherever you have Libra at in your house, these are the areas where you need to be reacting, responding to love, justice, fairness, equilibrium and balance, and harmony and peace. Also, you're going to be basically dealing with opposites too, because this is going to put you into a position where wherever you have your Venus at, you're going to come across as opposing. But wherever you have this at in the 7th house, it's 10 times out of 10, this is governing that house. But wherever spectrum you have Libra at, whether you have Libra in the North Node, the South Node, your Chiron in Libra, any area that you basically sense these areas, these are the areas that's going to affect these positions. So wherever you have Libra at, these are the areas. Get ready to basically feel the need to compromise and bring an establishment and build that bridge, that tunnel where y'all can basically get across. Now, we about to basically get into it now. So, if you have Libra in the 1st house, this is loving personal interactions, personal personas, and personal affairs that you have with a personal place or thing. This is going to put you into a position of loving oppositely, because also Libra don't love this house. So this is a position in where things are going to be ups and downs. You may be very passive into this area. Try not to be too passive. If something is bothering you, act on it, talk about it, and compromise with it. Because if you allow things to build up, 10 times out of 10, your balance is going to fall out. The sand is going to leave the machine, and you're going to explode. 10 times out of 10, you don't want this to happen. So if something is wrong, you need to basically adjust the issue right away, up front and personal. Get very personal. Let them know. I mean, so also this is going to be the Justice card, and there's going to be a whole lot of shit. So you got to act opposite with this position. For me, be a little bit more selfish, self-officiating, you'll be all right. For me, just a little bit, not too much. For me, got just a little bit, you'll be all right. If you have Venus in Aries, you're going to be basically dealing with love, compromisation, and harmony, and a tug-of-war way, which means you got to cope with the energies, or the energies won't work in your favor. If you have Libra in the 2nd house, you're going to be basically going to the extremes in these areas, because Libra loves being here, Venus loves being here, and you can go to the extremes in these areas. But this is going to be misunderstandings too. So try not to put yourself into that positioning. Also, with this positioning here, you're going to be going to the extremes when it comes to your opposite ways of things that you value, your possessions, and your personas. Try not to get too lost into your desires in these areas. Feel me? Because you could be overindulgent to yourself, and you're not gonna know the equilibrium balance, which means you can have too many desires and shit, too many possessions, and try not to allow yourself to basically have too many of that. Feel me? You gotta learn how to have the equilibrium scale. Feel me? Get a little bit more separated from the world at times. Learn how to basically separate. Try not to look at things too much of as a material possession and thing. Learn how to basically just separate from that shit sometimes. Close the door, lock the door, close your eyes, and of course, find a peace within you. You react. Now, if you got Venus and Taurus, you're going to be basically dealing with misunderstood love when it comes to compromisations and harmony and peace. If you have Venus and Taurus. Now, if you have Libra in the third house, feel me? This is reacting and responding to opposite love when it comes to your communications, your interactions, your community. See, in this position right here, you may talk a lot. You may chat a lot. You may run your mouth a lot. And of course, try not to overindulge into that area. Because if you don't find the balance in that position, you're going to be seen as an individual that's basically kind of slip up and say certain things that should be kept secretly, which can basically bring some issues. And you may basically go to the extremes of connecting with too many people in your environment or finding too much harmony and peace in your environment. Just try to find balance there, and you'll be all right. Also, if you have Venus in Gemini, you're going to have the gift to interact when it comes to intellectual communications and affairs with other individuals. Also, if you have Venus, I'm bugging, if you have Libra in the fourth house, right? This is loving oppositely when it comes to private home, private family, and private specters. Try not to make this a routine when it comes to working from home, working at home, to do things at home and shit. Now, if you're working from home, that's not a problem and shit. But try not to make home a routine. Feel me? Like, break out of a tradition. Try not to allow yourself to basically get stuck into this area and shit. You feel me? Try to get more into your own way of doing your own traditions. Feel me? Because you may be too lopsided into these traditions to the point that it may basically bury you into that fear, where your family may have you look outside yourself to be a reflection of how the world should be, knowing deep down inside you want to have. This is like basically being forced to go to church, knowing damn well you don't want to go to church. That's how it's gonna be positioned when it comes to private home, family, and roots. Now, if you have Venus in Cancer, you're gonna be going through some apprehensive issues when it comes to opening yourself up to relationships and being vulnerable. Also, if you have Libra in the fifth house, where it's going to basically be the way to be going above things, you're going to be basically dealing with ways to love and appreciate the way you express your creativity endeavors. Also, this is going to put you into a position of dealing with opposite energies too. With this position right here, Libra kind of falls here. So you're going to be needing to work hard on your creativity or your creative endeavors with this position right here. Try not to have no disagreements or differences with other individuals, for me, because you need to strike a balance in this area, for me, because you could be the egocentric individual, for me. You could be the you could be the Michael Jackson. I mean, you could be the Michael Myers in this position, for me, where you're too cold-hearted and shit. Try not to allow that to basically get into your affairs. Venus and Leo, you're going to be basically working hard to express your creativity when it comes to love, creativity, romance, and balance, if you have Venus and Leo. You have Libra in the sixth house. It falls here. I don't even love being here. So basically, you're going to be working real hard when it comes to loving oppositely of your way you compromise with work, routine, and scheduling. Try not to allow your past to basically come back up. Try to find some balance in these areas. And everything ain't got to be perfect or need to be fixed. For me, just fix your way of how you see the world and love more of yourself, and you'll be at in this position. For me. Also, you can go to the extremes when it comes to your work, your health, and your routines, and this can burden you. If you got Venus in Virgo, it's going to be some ups and downs when it comes to love, compromisation, and relationships. If you have Libra in the seventh house, where it's home here, it's going to be expressing your creative endeavors when it comes to relationships, equilibrium, and balance in a new way. Feel me? Try to strike a balance in this section, for me, because you're going to have an equilibrium scale where you're going to pretty much allow things to basically get You're gonna allow people, places, and things to get away with a whole lot of shit. I mean, but 10 times out of 10, you're always gonna have your guard up. But try to find balance. Try to be a little bit more selfish at times. But you're gonna have the equilibrium and balance, because Libra can pretty much do good here with this position. So it's not gonna be too much of a agony with this area. Also, try to find balance and be a little bit more selfish, and you'll be out in this area. If you got Venus and Libra, you're gonna have a new way of loving and relating to the world. If you have Libra in the 8th house, you're basically going to be expressing your creative endeavors when it comes to your deep hidden desires, your routines. For me, Libra don't really kind of deal with this house neither, so it's going to be to the extremes with this one. You're also pretty much going to be dealing with the past issues and shit. Try not to allow these things to basically build up. Try to love more yourself and try to like kill the past, and not allow these things to basically taint your waters. It could be injuries, it could be collisions and shit that basically may pop back up into your area that you don't want to allow these things to basically come back. So try not to allow these things, clear out your space before you do any perception. Try to find balance in these areas to basically bring the sticks together, so these ties won't basically, nothing will fall off. For me, the waters can basically be balanced. For me, the emotional perspective can be balanced. If you got Venus and Scorpio, you're gonna be basically making adjustments when it comes to deep desires, when it comes to sex, romance, and harm, and desires and shit. You're gonna be going to the extremes and trying not to do that. If you have Venus and if you have Libra and if you have Libra in the 9th house, for me, you're basically gonna be expressing your creative endeavors when it comes to your experiences, your morals, and your principles. For me, you may be a spiritual guru in this position. For me, almost to the point where you may not want to be with somebody. You may be basically lost into how individuals are when it comes to relationships and relationship. You may basically be an individual of try not to bring no fraudulence. Fraud people, places, and things can either be coming into your life or maybe basically using you. But you can be going to the extremes of being alone or being a spiritual guru when it comes to relationships and romance and morals and principles. Try to find balance and equilibrium with that. For me, try to get more in your environment and explore more, and you'll be all right. Also, if you got Venus and Sagittarius, you're going to have an extreme optimistic point of view and reference when it comes to relating your optimism, your spirituality, your religious perspectives, and your morals and principles to the world. Also, if you have Venus, if you have Libra in the 10th house, you're going to basically be going to the extremes in these areas because it's exalted here. So you're going to be basically going to the extremes when it comes to helping people, being a narcissistic person, being sarcastic, and also basically taking advantage of others, and also playing devil's advocate in this area too. So try not to go to the extremes into these areas, feel me? And you'll be out in these areas. Try to find balance. If you have Venus and Capricorn, you're going to have a strict modality and extreme manner when it comes to relating people, places, and things, and basically throwing your status and your career and your structure on other individuals. Try not to do this, for me, because you may run or ghost people away. Also, because Venus and Libra is all, I want to be free. I don't want to basically be having too much structure and routines and patterns and fucking practicality. For me, everybody just want to chill out. So just chill out right now. Find balance and try not to overindulge in too much of that. If you got Venus, I'm bugging. If you got Libra and Aquarius, I'm bugging. What the fuck I'm talking about? If you have Libra in the 11th house, for me, you're gonna be basically dealing with some ups and downs, and you may be going to the extremes in these areas. For me, you're gonna have the gift to basically have balance and equilibrium in this area. For me, sometimes everybody may not need help, and sometimes you may just need to sit back and relax and chill, because you may be putting yourself into a position of other individuals basically like feeling very opposite against you, or you may feel dislike in some way. For me, and even if you do help individuals, the help is gonna look like, damn, why this person gotta do it in this way? Why they can't just help me in this position? It's gonna be like everybody is gonna be very egotistical and narcissistical to you and shit like that. They may be open or they may be hitting these things. For me, so try to chill out. For me, try not to talk too much. Try not to put yourself into arguments and disagreements and things that matter. For me, because there's gonna be some ups and downs, and there's gonna be some extremes, and there's gonna be some shit. For me, try not to do that. And last but not least, if you have Venus in Aquarius, you're going to have the gift to be unique and be your own individual manner when it comes to that. Now, if you have Libra in the 12th house, you're going to be going to the extremes when it comes to dreams, fantasies, illusions, imaginations, and spirituality. You might put yourself into a position of going to the extremes when it comes to love matters. You may not even be getting what you want. You might fuck around, make an OnlyFans. You might become a prostitute. You might do some crazy shit in this position because Venus is exalted here. Try not to do that. For me, you'll be at it. And also, If you got Venus in Pisces, this is misunderstood when it comes to love and creativity and dreams and imagination.